When the bottle tree was ripped from the earth, the delicate ward keeping the town in balance broke. The sun failed to rise, replaced by a sky of heavy clouds and a bruised crimson lightning storm. For the survivors, the dawn had always been the ultimate reprieve. Now that rhythm has stopped. Every clock in the town is ticking toward a morning that simply isn't coming. At the same time, the man in yellow has methodically stripped the town of its only physical defense. He stole the protective talismans and vanished them into the faraway trees, removing the only barriers that kept the creatures on the other side of the door. With the morning light gone and the talismans lost, the residents are left entirely exposed. The primary boundaries of safety have ceased to exist. Without the sun to force them back into the caves, the creatures are no longer restricted by a schedule. They are free to roam the streets at midday. They step out of the tree line, their fixed, agonizing smiles catching the red glow of the storm. The town's layout has effectively inverted. The diner, the clinic, and colony house, once safe havens until sunset, are now open hunting grounds. The survivors can no longer wait for the darkness to pass. The environment itself is now actively participating in the hunt. But the external threat is only half the problem. A biological corruption is now moving through the survivors' own bodies. Fatima's body is undergoing a terrifying metamorphosis. Her pulse has slowed to a crawl, her skin is cold to the touch, and dark, grotesque veins are rapidly branching out beneath her skin. She is clinically dead, yet she remains conscious. She is psychically linked to the monster Smiley, able to feel its impulses, and in moments of extreme stress, exert a strange control over its movements. This transformation erases the definitive line between the people in the town and the things in the woods. Paranoia is becoming an infection of its own, as the survivors realize the threat is already inside their blood. Through the visions seen by Tabitha and Jade, a history has begun to emerge. Those smiling creatures are not animals. They are the people who lived here 5 centuries ago. The mechanics of the curse rely on a singular event from 1506. To gain immortality, the town's first residents sacrificed their own children to the entity in the woods. This immortality came with a specific cognitive cost. The parents can no longer see or hear the ghosts of the children they killed. They are trapped in a loop of hunger and forgetting, unable to perceive the victims screaming for them to remember. Fatima's pregnancy and subsequent birth of a fully grown creature provides the first physical bridge between that ancient sacrifice and the town's current inhabitants. The monsters are both the perpetrators and the products of this cycle. Stop and Know requires more than a gun. It requires a confrontation with the history of the town itself. Staying inside and boarding the windows is no longer a viable strategy. The group has to move toward the source of the visions. The plan relies on a desperate logic. If the curse is built on forgetting, then the only way to break the entities is to force them to remember. This means unearthing the ancient bones of the sacrificed children. The survivors believe that bringing these physical remains back into the light will disrupt the ritual's power over the monsters' minds. The survivors are no longer acting as prey. They are launching a direct physical disruption of the town's origins, gambling that the truth will be more lethal to the creatures than the creatures are to them. The final gauntlet is a frantic, shaky POV through the densest parts of the woods. The air is freezing, burning the survivors' lungs as they push through the dark. It is a total sensory overload. The shriek of cicadas is deafening, and pale, smiling faces flash in the peripheral shadows as the swarm closes in from all sides. They have one destination, the lighthouse. It stands as the only structure that has ever provided a potential path out of this geography. Uncovering these answers has already resulted in ripped throats and shattered families. To finish this, the survivors are forced out of their boarded-up houses and into a direct confrontation with the forest itself.